Okay, so let's start. Hi everyone, welcome to Product, Monetization and LiveOps, the Holy Trinity. We gave it like a really like a movie name, and I hope it will be like a movie. Let's see. So let's start with me. My name is Roy. I'm going to host this panel. And talking about movies, we have three superstars, and as gentlemen as we are, what do you say, Chen? We will let Natasha start to introduce yourself.
I feel like maybe I don't need to introduce myself because the room is full of my friends. Hi, Natasha from Huuuge. I'm the VP of Monetization and CRM in Huuuge Games. Been 12 years in gaming. That's where I know a lot of people from. Great to be here.
Take it from here. Thank you, guys. It's exciting to be here. My name is Shlomi Nezry. I'm the Director of Game Economy and Analytics at Slotomania. I have a lot of friends here as well. Everybody came from Playtika originally. Yeah, so I started off at Playtika 5 years ago in the casual division in Board Kings, a game of bunnies running over a Monopoly board. And 2 years ago, I had an amazing opportunity to join Slotomania, of course, the flagship title of Playtika, the leader of the social casino, and in game economy. What? No, the leader, the undisputed leader. And of course, game economy and analytics is intertwined with all of the aspects of the running the game, product, game design, the future of the game, but also the everyday live ops and monetization activities. And I'm looking forward to share some of the insight I have from these fields with you guys today.
Wow, talking after those two. Pleasure to meet you all. It's exciting, especially for me to be here. I was here 10 years ago from DAWAP. It was a gaming agency. Then moved on to AnyView. That was a SaaS solution for advertising across the board. VP Monetization and Programmatic at ironSource that was acquired by Unity. And now the co-founder and CRO at Rise. Woo! I don't know, I have so many friends in the audience, but I thought maybe it will work as well. So a pleasure to meet you all, and looking forward to have this panel.
Amazing. Okay, so everybody is already hyped. Let's start with some questions. So let's hear a little about your products, your monetization strategies. Tell us a little about the focuses you have for this year and next year.
Okay, so in terms of course, the general products of Playtika, the games themselves, we have strong titles both in the social division and social casino with Slotomania, House of Fun, Caesars Casino, and WSOP. And we have growing an interesting portfolio of casual games led by Bingo Blitz, June's Journey, and Solitaire Grand Harvest. But in terms of our in-game strategies, in terms of monetization, Playtika consider itself as more of an entertainment company, not just a gaming company, and it reflects also in our games. We're not just selling the core game, for example, in Slotomania. You get coins, you play them in the slots machine, and you get coins from the machine. We also interest the player with other variety of challenges and elements, and already today we have a strong rev share coming up from our premium currency, for example, that amplify all of the gameplay of the player, and also from our mini games, so seasonal events that we are selling the currency for the player to progress, to achieve, and mostly advance in other features like the album, for example.
You convinced me.
So Huuuge, our flagship game is Huuuge Casino with $1 billion in lifetime revenue, 24 in revenue in the apps. So a lot like Playtika, we provide entertainment. A huge aspect of Huuuge is our social, the clubs, and our focus on social in the game. We also provide, obviously we're a slots game, but there are lots of layers in the game to keep players entertained and engaged and pay and play. Since we at the moment only do have a huge casino, billionaire casino as our main focus. All our focus is in keeping players in the game and playing in the game and wanting to stay and play.
Okay, so two answers that say we are all about retention, engagement, and getting the players engaged and more connected to the game in order for them to play later and pay, of course. Chen, would you like to add a little about your company?
Sure. So we're not a game developer. You'll hear a lot of things about the user experience and how do we contain players within the apps themselves. So we're coming from the advertising side, working years with brands, agencies, SSPs, and DSPs on the programmatic side. So basically getting all the first-party data, contextual relevancy, and in real time bringing programmatic ads into in-app devices.
Interesting. Great. So let's talk a little about the the games we see. Can you tell us a little about innovative or inventive ways you've seen to get more mileage of your games to make it a little more exciting for the user, as the FTP mobile is that strong in the competition?
Okay, I'll start. Yes, so of course, our games are very mature, they are evergreen games, and we need to always keep innovating and changing in according to the player's preference. The key element, the key focus that we have today in our company in order to increase the mileage of a player is to treat him as an individual and not part of a group, not part of a segment. This worked back then. Now we are in a different aspect where every player costs a lot of money, a loyal payer costs a ton of money, and we can't afford to lose him, we can't afford to lose his engagement, and in order to do so, we need to personalize not only our LiveOps, what price you get, what offering, what you like, but also the core gameplay, the meta features, and it takes a lot of time in terms of technological investments. Also, it takes a different mindset in terms of economy control, because you are allowing the player to get his own game. But this is the future. If we will not do that and we will not do it well, we will not be able to survive the competition. And this is our focus from now, years ahead.
Okay. Natasha?
So Shlomi and I went to the same school at Playtika. So we have a lot of the same visions as well. Like you said, acquiring new players is very, very expensive. It's very hard to acquire new players that could be whales and stay in the game. So we have to think of creative ways to keep players in the game and bring them added value. One of the ways is segmentation. Like you said, there's the old way of doing a segmentation, and there's the new way of doing segmentation, of being very, very specific to players' needs, giving them what they want, what offers they should receive. I think we're very good at monetizing players. We're very good at squeezing what we can out of existing players, but we really need to suit their needs to us and not our needs to them. Because that's the only way that we'll survive as an evergreen company as well.
Okay. So as you see, segmentation is even not a basic thing. It's one step above of it. Last year, everybody was doing segmentation. This is one step ahead. So this is the market we have today. Very strong competition. Okay.
So I'll talk about innovating from the advertising side. So all of us want to keep the user playing our games and have a long lifetime value. But I feel like in terms of innovation in the advertising side, I feel like we're very focusing on the performance side. And none of the game developers really want to promote other games on their games, but it's paying the most. And what we're focusing is basically bringing also an alternative of ads from Zara, McDonald's, Sephora, all the biggest brands, and giving a user experience for the player itself that will keep him within the game. We'll talk a lot about segmentation. Segmentation is something that is good also on the programmatic side, and in terms of really finding the right ad to the right user. And I think that in a lot of places, performance ads or promoting other games are not necessarily relevant. If you think about it, if user plays a game, so he sees 1 impression, 2 impressions, 3 impressions, 10 impressions, he decides that he doesn't want to download another game. Why not showing him something else? Why not showing him brands that could be relevant for him at any time. And also from the advertising side, showing ads on placements that are 100% viewable, very engaging, with long duration is a great match. So I feel like brands and agencies are more and more open to go into mobile games. And I feel that from the innovation side, from the mobile side, from the developer side of things, we also need to think how we can make the gap to be shorter.
Okay, thank you. Did he convince you? Awesome. So you mentioned both LiveOps. How important are LiveOps to the game? And when would you recommend adding the LiveOps? Is it to the MVP side? Is it later on when the product is a little more mature?
So I think LiveOps is definitely a very, very important layer in the game, but obviously a strong product is most important. LiveOps is it's on top of a strong product. But in order to do LiveOps well, it needs to be invested in the very beginning as well, like have at least the base, at least the values of what you're going to do in LiveOps, and then from there build it. So before you have it, like before you have a strong product, I don't think there's a place to start monetizing hard, but you need to like at least have the vision for it.
Okay. So generally speaking, you have to get the basic metrics, only then when you have a product that is relevant, then you add the LiveOps part. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree with Natasha, and I think first of all, today games have less time, a shorter period of succeeding, and if they won't do it, they will get closed, and they will have a hard time to succeed without a meaningful LiveOps in their game. So sure, we need to have a valid product before, but we also need to set in the product the platform to incorporate really quickly LiveOps abilities. We need the LiveOps people there and to start with, to think about the product, how it can be monetized later on, and to connect with the player. And if we will not do it, we'll miss the train, and it will be a hard time later. Playtika, the thing that it does firstly when he purchases a younger game is to incorporate all of this knowledge and know-how of LiveOps into it. It's sometimes harder because it wasn't built that way, but we managed to do so, and it's imperative that we do so.
I have like an open question, and you can answer or cannot answer. Can you estimate the number, the percentage of LiveOps adds to the game? It's a surprise question. I didn't prepare it.
Yeah. Basically, there's always the challenge of maybe we should lower the pop-ups and the interruption to the player and let him play the way he wants. But every test we are doing in this aspect is resulting in lower revenue, of course. It's imperative for our growth ambitions to have this kind of aggressiveness. It has a cost. It has a toll on the game, on the player. But if I will say game with LiveOps, you know what? I'm from Playtika. I cannot imagine something like that. Sorry.
I was gonna say that we're mature games, so there's no such thing as no LiveOps in the game. And like Shlomi said, every test that we've done to lower the monetization results in lower revenue.
Tough crowd. That's what we're saying. As we see so many copycats in the games today, and everybody is copying the other one, is there room for innovation in the free-to-play games and products?
Well, it's hard to come by groundbreaking innovation today. There's always room, but most of what we have seen in the industry in recent years is more incremental innovation. But let me be unbiased for a second and have a look at some interesting stuff being done by others. For example, Monopoly Go this year promoted two interesting innovations. One of them was simple, around monetization, offering a new type of decoy offer, the buy all option. It's simple. It's also not so challenging in terms of technology or product. And we saw it successful, and other companies are copycat in it, but it's incremental. It's just a slight increase. Something more groundbreaking there was the Duel Social Challenge, the event that we saw also in Royal Match later on. So this, I think, is cracking the code of social engagement, I'm playing with my friend. I want him to pick me again to play for the next cycle. So when he's investing, I'm investing, and it's not like a group that I'm not feeling that obligated to put some of my efforts in, and I think it's very good and monetizing for them. But in general sense, I think the innovation in future years, in upcoming years, will be more under the hood instead of visible to the player. It's about making your product correspond to the player preference. It's a hard challenge, but it will maybe will not that be of a marketing message, but it will contain a lot of growth opportunities for the companies that will do so.
Okay, interesting. Going back to Pirate King's social games, that's what you're saying.
So I think there's a huge challenge in everything that is freemium. In the past, it was much easier to basically to develop games, to make user buy things. There weren't so many games. And things are becoming more and more expensive. Things are becoming more challenging. We are seeing bigger companies acquiring smaller ones and medium ones. Competition is good for all of us, but competition is starting to be much harder. So I think that in terms of innovation for freemium games, it's also thinking about the whole story. How can I basically make sure that the game will exist for the longer time possible? How can I really keep the user within the game for a long time? But also, how can I keep his user experience from all aspects? Not only that the game will be interesting, not only that the places it could purchase thing within the game will be also in an appealing way, but also the holistic way of how he's seeing ads within it. I can't believe the 10 years or 12 years since I came into this industry, and we're still seeing ads as rewarded video, interstitials, and small banners. It's like, where is the innovation? Where are the new formats? Users are different. The users we had 10 years ago are not the users that we have today. So how come we're monetizing in the same exact way that we did it 10 years ago? So I feel like innovation has to come on all fronts, unless people will just look for alternatives.
Yeah, so I agree with Shlomi, of course. Very surprising. I think there's a lot in our industry. We copy each other a lot. We see one good thing works in another game. We all follow all the other games. You can see it exactly what happened with the Piggy Vault in all games. Now that Monopoly Go have done this collect all, I'm sure we'll see it in a lot of other places as well. So we all do copy each other, but maybe with like a twist. I think the innovation comes with like taking something that we saw maybe as an idea in another game and then making a twist on it. Like Shlomi said, it's very hard to bring another layer in the game. Something, players are used to it. They're used to having the core game, which is slots or collection, and then just having another feature, another seasonal feature, another two-day feature that are on and off all the time. So we need to think of things that are not just releasing more and more and more features that make the game very complicated as well. If it's via economy, it's very complicated to handle so many features and ongoing things, and also for players' attention span and everything, it's just, it doesn't make sense to just keep adding on more. We have to think of things that are more smart.
Adaptive copycotting.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to ask a question that everyone has this check mark. Let's talk about AI. Surprise, surprise. Are you using AI in the company? Which departments are using AI? Anything you can elaborate on this? I can say that in Ilyon we are using AI. Of course, in art, this is like the basic thing, but we started adding it in a lot of data departments in the company. So happy to hear your view on this point.
So AI, I think, is a code word at the moment. We're not there yet. I think it's more machine learning than AI, except for Gen AI, which I think everyone's starting to use if it's, like you said, in art and copy and things like that, which is a very quick win. As for data, it's complicated. We're testing and checking and trying out new things, but it's not a quick win. It's not easy. It also needs to be implemented in the product as well. So there's a lot to develop, but there's a whole world out there that definitely looking at and developing and looking into. Yeah.
It's not AI yet.
It's not yet.
In Hebrew, I will say, it's like a very good bitsuist. You have to teach him really good, then he does his work.
It's maybe A.
Exactly.
Playtika entered AI a while ago, and now we see already the insert of it into our games, into our business. Of course, we have the art with the Gen I. We are doing the album in AI. We are communicating with our players with AI. But in terms of the gameplay and how we affect the players, so now we see it incorporated into our core feature, also into our core progression in the game. It started showing results, and sometimes, you know, when we understand the opportunity is there, it excites us and it makes us change the way we acted for so long, because there is this opportunity now to work differently. And it's not about if you should use AI, you should use it. Of course, it's a strong tool, and this is the time to do so. It's about the capability of the company to do this kind of maneuver. It's changing your product, first of all, to be dynamic and corresponding, not a set configuration that you just upload to the game. It's changing. The player is doing something, the game reacts to him, and then the AI can extract all kinds of recommendation for different treatment, different prices, different challenge, different costs. And so this is one challenge. The second challenge, I come from game economy, so it's you need to lose control. We are all about control in game economy to monitor the balances of the game. You need to switch it from predefined control and economy to a range of opportunities and maneuvering for the AI model, for the AI system, in order to promote the best out of each individual without harming the general game balances. Of course, it also requires new type of monitoring, which we need to develop, and we are developing.
Okay, so I asked the AI question to be here as part of the panel, because I really think for a very long time, AI was a buzzword. We were addicted to Google Sheets and rules and basically doing everything by ourselves. You talked about how hard it is to really change things, and it's also about hiring. I hear about a lot of companies that say that they are doing AI, but then I look on their LinkedIn page and profile of the employees, and I don't see one single person that is a data science or a big analytic team. And how can you do data science and AI if you don't have the people that were trained for that and know how to do it in the right way? In addition, I think AI is not only opening ourselves to a much more precise way of monetizing or reviewing everything that we're doing within the company. If you're not doing it right, it could be super, super, super costly, and you'll think you're getting an added value, but you'll lose everything on running those real-time models on, doesn't matter which platform you're taking, if it's Google, if it's Amazon, it's super, super costly to run real-time models. And I just want to talk a bit of what we're doing on our side. So basically, we're trying to combine three things that are very hard to do in terms of monetization. First is taking everything that we know from the first-party data that you can use when you're doing monetization. Everything from operation system, device, the version, all the things that we tried to combine in the past through Google Sheets, we're doing in real time, taking all this information and trying to find the right combination in order to decide what is the right floor to send a single auction to a user. And in addition, what should we send to each partner and what not? We talked about that in the past, it was really easy to be profitable. Today, it's not. Today, if I'm sending tons of requests as a developer to one of the SSP, a DSP, any exchange I'm working with, and I'm not generating a return, it's very costly. And at the end of the day, if I'm not efficient, he will just close me as a developer. And as a company, we're connected today with Uplove, and Unity, and IronSource, Vangle, all of the SDKs, and we're trying to understand exactly how do they manage the waterfall within the SDK itself. And it's amazing to actually see that still in the performance industry, we're still working with waterfalls. How can it be? All the industry in all different places went to programmatic. It's all real-time bidding. It's all, this is what I want to sell, this is what you want to offer me, and in seconds we're taking decisions. We're still in our industry working with waterfalls that if he's not winning, let's go to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's not where the industry is going to. And in order to really change, in order to really make things and take decisions in real time in milliseconds, it has to be based on data. It has to be based on processes that are data science and AI based. And this is how we can really take much better decisions and make the most out of our properties and give our clients and users a better user experience. So this is AI for me.
Yeah, you know a lot on AI because the ad companies have been there a long time ago, even before the publishers and developers. So you mentioned the CPIs that are rising. There's a very big competition. I would be happy hearing some tips about increasing the LTVs, reducing the churn, anything you can share to the crowd here.
Okay, so I'm not a marketing person, but I can tell you what we do inside the studio in order to incorporate with this major issue of gaming today. First of all, we're trying to reduce churn. Of course, we're doing it mostly by a prediction of the player behavior, using a lot of data and understanding of the player. And when we identify a player that is about to churn, we're trying to change his game in terms of visible manners, like special offers, special elements in the game that he likes. And also from behind the scenes, we're trying to make the game a little bit more fun for him, to make him feel more lucky, more successful, and to change the prediction of the churn because we cannot afford to lose it, as I said before. And in another aspect, also in terms of in-game activities, we are trying to make the welcome back experience to be as welcoming and engaging as possible, again, with different manners, in order to, after we recapture a player, make him love the game altogether, to remember why he spent so much time and money here, and to make him last this time for a longer period, and maybe to reinstall him as a loyal player in the game.
So I think we're all, well, almost everyone is experiencing the drop, the year-over-year drop, due to churn mostly. Also we have predictive models that we're using in order to predict player behavior and see how we can stop it before it becomes an issue. The game experience for us, like I said before, our main added value is the clubs and the social aspect in the game, which is a very strong aspect in our game. So enhancing all the social aspect in our game gives an emotional connection to the game. So it's not just about offering the right offer or giving them like just fun things. There's an actual emotional connection to our game that we want to enhance and keep players in. We talk to our players directly. We ask them. We want to hear about their experiences. We want to hear what the players want as well. Slot players are interesting players because on the one hand, they complain about losing, but that's what keeps the excitement of winning and losing is why they play slots. So we have to find the balance in keeping the players entertained, but not making them feel like their money isn't worth anything. So via features, via offers, onboarding players properly, working on the first time player experience, working on bringing players that have churned, bringing them back into the game, and then what do we give them once they come back into the game? Why do they feel valued? A lot of players, like I said, they have an emotional connection to our game. They live and breathe a huge casino. So we need to treat them like that and respect them for that as well.
So this is an interesting take. With all the AI and technology and data, at the end of the road, you have a lot of human contact. This is like really interesting, and we know that in Ilyon also. We have a very strong CS team. You can raise your hand, Daniel, one of them. And yeah, they're talking to the users and get a lot of insights. And sometimes something that you get from a user is something that even a team of data scientists can't discover, which is amazing for me. And to the final question, 2024 is almost over. I will be happy hearing some tips regarding your expertise and anything you have to share with other developers and publishers for the next year.
I think the bottom line is to know your players, know what audience you're dealing with, know what interests them, know why they're playing with you. know if they're playing any other games. What is your added value as a game? There are tons of slots games. Why do they play with your game? And keeping them in the game. What is the way to keep players in the game? Like we've discussed many times, the CPIs are insane. They're not going anywhere. We need to think of ways of keeping players.
They're going up.
They're going up. And also be creative with the marketing teams. Think of ways to bring players in, not just via CPI.
I would say, first of all, for new developers or new games, think about the whole product, like we've seen with some of the titles that will launch this year. Think about your LiveOps when you are finalizing your product. Think about how to personalize your product. Believe me, you have easier times than a veteran game to adjust its own product that was acting for a long period of time in a certain manner. It's sometimes a much easier challenge. And for the more established games, we can see it here in Slotomania. We have the leader, Amnon Kalev, here sitting. You need to take bold decision. You need to disrupt yourself. Slotomania is a disruptive market leader. It's changing the core of the game that was lasting, as Shir and Eli mentioned in the beginning of the conference, for 13 years. Our games got used to something. They also are very engaged with the game, but we understand we need to change how we act, how we are corresponding with the market trends and the player preference. And sometimes it's a huge risk. The revenue coming from Slotomania is crucial for Playtika. But without taking this decision, you will not be able to stand the competition. It will slowly fade away. You need to be bold. You need to personalize your game. Even if your game is old and your system is problematic, you need to adjust it. And there you have the opportunity to grow, also with some risk.
Okay. Great.
So the best tip I can give you 2024 is to put a question mark on everything that you're doing. 2 weeks ago, I was in New York, and I think I'm the only one that really enjoys going to Times Square. I went to Times Square, I'm looking at all those huge devices, and I'm seeing ads, and none of the ads were relevant for me. Who wants to eat a hamburger in 5 a.m.? When I was in the Navy, maybe. But today, I want to see something else. And if you think about it, in Times Square, we're seeing ads that someone paid in advance in order to show in that place, and it's not connected to data at all. So I think that in 2024, we need to think, do we have the right people within our teams that could really help us overcome the obstacles that we have in this year? Did we change the advertising way in our game as it needs to be in 2024? Do we know as an industry in the performance side, what is a DSP, SSP, CTV, audio, digital out of home? I think that we really need to open ourselves, make changes, and make sure that we're always in the front tier. This is why this is why I'm here in this industry, in the gaming side, programmatic side, for 10 years. I feel like in Israel, we always did things the best and first. And in some areas, I feel like that we stopped innovating, we stopped changing. And if you're stopping, you can't be first in anything. So I think we just have to put a question mark in everything we're doing, and we will keep rising.
Great answers. And what is interesting, the two of you usually say very similar things, but this time Chen said something very similar to you also. So it's all about being smart, adaptation, and personalization. So it's interesting, you all say the same thing. Okay, so this is the end of the panel. Ophir is doing like sign languages like this to me. Thank you.